also want to reach out to have a more interdisciplinary approach. Right now, most of who we train are people in churches, and there's a large audience there, actually. But we think that teachers, we've done some trainings for teachers, they've been very well received, public school teachers, and other people. So what we're trying to do is reach out into more areas to see that you don't necessarily, you can use these methods and adapt them to your setting. So for instance, if you're a teacher, you can do the listening. You don't have to call it the holy listening. It's the same process, it's just tweaked to be appropriate for the local school. So we want to reach out more there, and we want to increase our fundraising and development. So here's where we would really like your input. We've been debating whether we should change our name, and I just wanted your wisdom about this. We are First Step Spirituality Center. Here are the pros, here are the cons. And the word spirituality can be a stumbling block for people. For the very religious right, the more conservative Christians, they hear the word spirituality and they tell us, oh, so you're New Age? The really New Agey people say, oh, so you're really fundamentally Christian, you're hiding behind the word spirituality? So we've debated whether we should just drop that word. And I got to tell you, this is why I need your input. I go back and forth. And also for grants. We wonder what happens when we write a grant and say we help hurting children. If right off the top they say, oh, religious out, religious out, religious out. We want secular things to grant. I believe that we can find grants with the word spirituality. Maybe we just need to define it more. So we decided we're going to drop it. We had decided that as a board. We're just going to be First Steps, and everybody calls it First Steps anyway. But then I started Googling First Steps, and there's First Steps Daycare, First Steps Recovery Program, First Steps 12-Step Program, and so we get lost in the virtual world, where right now when you put First Step Spirituality Center, we're the first one, or if you Google spirituality in children, we pop up. When we're just First Steps, we're not going to pop up as readily. So I worry about that, and I also don't want to be not faithful to the God who has inspired every bit of this. But to replace it with the word like Christian would not seem that we were open to the Jewish children or the Muslim children that come for our care. So would you do a little thought around that word, First Step Spirituality Center, and if anybody has a strong inkling, and I invite you to spend time in prayer for those of you who do pray, and really think about, is that dropping that, is that not being faithful, does it matter, should we keep it? We're really in a quandary. We'd love your input about that. It's a big decision. It may seem small, but believe me, we have spent hours and hours popping this around. We also have had an offer to move our center back into First United Methodist Church. Now, we began in First United Methodist Church, then we left the church, and we've been invited to come back there. It would save us thousands of dollars in rent, in internet, and in phone. And so we feel like being good stewards of our money, that might be a good possibility for us. The downside to that, we would have our own entrance. There on the parking lot, we would have an entrance where they would come in, so they wouldn't have to come all the way through the windy church. But obviously, our concern is, would a Jewish child come into First United Methodist Church? Would a Catholic child? So we want to be good stewards, but we also don't want to be exclusive because of our location. Pluses for the church is we have free parking. Right now, they have to use the meters and pay lots. You know, it's hard, and sometimes if something's going on at Tony's Bar, you got to park far away. So it'd be nice to have the parking close to the building, especially for the evening appointments. I worry about the parents walking their cars. The church has offered the space. They would love to have us. They would be good hosts for us. The negative piece is, would we become, then would people say, oh, you're part of First United Methodist Church, why would we continue to give? That worries me. And of course, to be perfectly honest, church politics scare me. So we'd have to be very, very cautious before we align ourselves with something that could be a political hotbed in 5 years for us. So, and I say that as a member of the staff at First United Methodist Church. Yes, Chuck?
I was wondering if you could do some kind of follow-up survey of Jewish kids or some of the Catholic kids or something like that, how their feeling would have been if we were over at the Methodist Church in the place where your son might be.
Oh, that's a great idea. We can do that.
As to whether they would have followed through with you if you would have known.
If we'd have been somewhere, that's a great idea. We can definitely track that. In fact, I'm having lunch with one of our Jewish moms today. Yes.
Just like all the high school kids to go to someplace over a bar, that's cool.
Yeah, it is
but to go be seen going to someplace in the church,
yeah, it might not be as cool. That's right. Yeah, we'll have to, especially our teenagers, we'll check with them. That's a great point. Yes?
The
we do have that Mac Center, which is right across the street from Palmer High School, and that has an upstairs. So yeah, that might be a nice little. Wouldn't be so churchish. I mean, it's a big church. It's scary. All right, so yeah, keep thinking about that. Those are great inputs. The other thing is we're just inviting you to share our mission with families and possible donors. You know, this economy is bad. And I don't know about you, but I'm getting more and more of these mail things asking me for more and more of my donations. So we just are happy that you're here, and we want to remind you that we're still here, and we're still raising money. So as you feel pulled in different directions, I hope you'll keep us on your giving list. And also, if you have people that you know of that might be potential donors, if you could just share with them our mission, and maybe encourage them to give some gifts as well. We don't have very many huge donors. What we have are so many faithful givers that give on a regular basis. And that's what we're looking for. So we're not asking you to find your millionaire friends or your really rich friends. We're inviting you to tell everybody to send $25 to First Steps. It really adds up and it makes a huge difference. And then, no, we cannot turn away your millionaire friends. We would love that as well. We also, so raise the funds. And then the last thing, so those are our main things. I think the name change, the possible location, whether or not we if we could offer our classes for free, what you think about that idea, if you think that's nutty or if you think it's plausible. We just like to have your input on that as well. So if you could think about those three things and just send us any kind of wisdom that you have, any kind of insight. And don't think that we will not take it seriously. That's why we had you here this morning. We need your input. We trust you. And then the last thing that we invite you to do is just to keep praying and for our children, our teens, and our mission. And to help you do that, we got you these prayer beads that are on your table. That's what these are, in case you don't know. And these are the #1 prayer tools of children. And so we thought that you should have one. And what you do is you pull the little bead and say your prayer. So you can imagine that children love these. And I'll show you how they work. They extend the time that a child sits in prayer. So they say their core statement at the bottom, and then they just sit with it, and they say, you know, I hate my daddy. That's their core statement. But then they'll sit there and say, I want to forgive him. I want to forgive him. I want to forgive him. And you can feel God's Spirit. I'm telling you, you can feel it come right into their little hearts and start healing them. This is their favorite prayer tool. We thought we would give you one just to remind you that we're still here, that they need your prayers, and that they're praying hard to get better. And it is your support that makes that possible. So take these home, and we have more of them in a jar back there. So if you have grandbabies or something, or you have 4 children and you'd like to take each of them a set, please take as many as you want. And the women at Broadmoor Community Church make these beads for us. We have hundreds of beads. If you'd like to have a dinner party and give them out, we can give you as many as you'd like. So do you have any questions?
Can I clarify one thing?
Yes.
The treatment for the children is free.
It's free, right.
Classes cost.
Right. We've used
What
the
is
classes.
a class?
Well,
A group of kids or?
no, a class is for adults who are getting trained in our method. So they're adults that we'd be paying. No, anything that we offer for children, groups, everything, we've always done that completely free for the children.